Welcome back to Open Line. Sheriff Daron Hall with us today. Davidson County Sheriff now since 2002, serving his 4th term. We have 2 callers on the line. We're going to try to get to both. Paul is on the line. Paul, thank you for joining us. What's your question?
Yes, Sheriff, I don't know if you remember or not, but before Metro became a metropolitan government, the sheriff actually had law enforcement authority. I've got 2 questions. Do you still have any remaining law enforcement authority, and would you like to regain law enforcement authority so your officers could patrol the highways and make arrests?
Wow. All right, thank you, Paul.
Paul, this is one of my favorite questions that I get around town. It really is, and it's been kind of under my skin for years.
Okay, then sound off.
So the bottom line is, we had a lawsuit a couple of years ago that kind of settled all this because basically we had someone challenging our authority, and Paul's right. There's always been this theory that when the charter was passed in the 60s, that it did away with the authority of the sheriff. It did not. You can't take the authority away from the sheriff. The state constitution requires you to do this. What happened is that the voters said that the chief of police and sheriff can't do the same thing.
Okay.
So it's basically, it's my language, the legal language is more fancier than that,
I'm
but
sure.
basically said you can't duplicate services. And so over those years, the understanding between the chief of police and the sheriff, whoever they were, and there are some things like you will run the jail and you will do that. And it says that the chief of police will be the principal conservator, which means he is the most important enforcement of law. But you can't take the authority away from the sheriff. So tomorrow morning, hypothetically, if Chief Anderson and I sit down and said, you do homicide, I'll do burglary, you could do that.
You could do it.
But I can't on my own go out and say, I'm going to take over what you're doing. You'd have to sit down and say here, but the authority is there. You don't take that away. I will tell you, Paul, I believe it's what makes Nashville better. We should be better at what we do, and they should be better at what they do. Most cities where you do both, one suffers because the jails are difficult places to run. We do 200 and some thousand civil process a year. Orders of protection, we're all over Nashville. Those are civil documents we're involved with. And so I think we're pretty good at that because the police don't worry about it. They're not good at it. They wouldn't be good at it because they're really out there doing patrol and investigations. And so I like the way the city is set up, but it always offends me a little bit, not the person, but the position, that you can't take the authority away. It's just an agreement that the voters said no more duplication. And I mean, look, we've taken over many things from the police since I've been the sheriff that were duties they've always had.
Like what?
The hospital. Used to, when you arrested a person that needed to go to the hospital first, the police sat on them at the hospital.
Yeah.
When I first came back here in 1996, the police ran the booking room. We have and we serve warrants for them now. And so it's just sitting down. We have an MOU. We work out the arrangement. Tomorrow morning, if we wanted to do this, we could sit down with the chief of police and say, we'll take over traffic. And we'd work out all that. Of course, it's a huge undertaking. But yeah, it's a very good question, and I like talking about it because we don't pull people over, but we could if there was that agreement to do it. It's not that we don't have the authority, it's the Metropolitan Charter separated duties, but it didn't say you can't do it from the authority standpoint.
I'm so glad you explained that. And Paul, thank you for asking that question. Great question. William's also on the line. William, go ahead with your question tonight.
Yes, sir. Number one, I think you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you.
Doing a great job. And I've been in your system. But when I was in there, I noticed that there weren't a whole lot of books for inmates to read. I wasn't in there that long. But when I got out, I would go to thrift stores and, Goodwills and places like that. And I'd see books and I'd want to, buy them. And I did buy a bunch of them. But then I was told that I could not come and donate the books, out there on Hardin Place. And I was wondering why is that? Because, some of the books that they come through, when they bring them through, they're worn or they're passing around each other. And is there a reason for that? I'd just like to know that.
I'll tell you what, William, I'm going to give you my number here in just a minute, and I want you to call me. It's funny, I had a retired judge this week call me, Judge Sue Evans. She would want me, she wouldn't care if I told you that. She's a good person, called me this week and said the same thing you said. She said, I read all the time. I'm retired now, I don't have anything else, really to do with these books. I've been reading all my life. I'm retired, I read. And she said, I want to donate them to people who are in the system. So we sent people out there, and my understanding is there's shelves after shelves of books. The only thing, William, it's not anybody, a judge or you or anyone else. What you can't do is you can't bring a book in and give it to a specific person, and you would understand why. There's all sorts of risks. But it doesn't mean that you couldn't donate the books and we would distribute them to people.
Gotcha.
And so my number, it's the main office number, and if you ask for me, it's 862-8170. I will put someone in contact with you. We would love to have the books, but you understand why. You couldn't bring Daron Hall a book and say give it to him. But we surely would like to take on that. The tablets we talked about, in the future we won't need books.
Yeah.
But for a while we still would like to have them. There are other folks, I still like to read the hard stuff myself.
Yes.
But, so we would use them, but the future is not that worry.
Right.
But William, if you'll call me, I appreciate it. Sounds like you're doing great, and congratulations on that.
William, thank you so very much for your call. That is some good information,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and it is something to pass the time while you're sitting in jail and need time to pass. Yeah,
productive,
absolutely.
right.
We're going to take another quick break. We'll wrap things up when we come back. Stay with us.